progress. Okay, I don't know which meeting was in progress.
Oh,
Okay, Prabhu.
let me ask Praveen Babuji if are they using this meeting? Think ये तो नहीं use कर रहे होंगे, but let me ask him.
Okay, I mean I cancelled the meeting. Some confusion was there, but yeah, please check with him if anybody else is using this account.
Sure. Babuji, which meeting you cancelled?
I mean I joined this Friday, and then it said another meeting in progress. So I don't know which meeting. Then I joined, so another meeting by default cancelled.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Okay, done with
Sure,
me.
Pradeep. Let me check. Yes, bro.
Okay,
Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dinesh Prabhu, you are doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, we'll begin now. Um, I don't know if that other devotee is joining from Westland. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahi Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam, pangum langaite girim, yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Okay, so this is our last discussion that we are doing on Friday. We will cover this third chapter, and then we continue our discussions on Sunday morning 11 a.m. This chapter is called Karma Yoga, and acronym for this chapter is tree. The reason um, the acronym is tree is because a Karma Yogi is like a tree. Now, the qualities of a tree um, is the tree is not attached to the fruits that it gives. Um, the tree is not attached to the fruits that it gives. Anybody can take the fruits from the tree and tree doesn't mind. On the other hand, tree is very tolerant. You can cut the branches, you can do whatever with the tree and tree doesn't retaliate. So that's primary reason why Karma Yoga is compared to a tree. Now we are beginning this chapter. So T stands for Tyag, um, R stands for relief from sin, E stands for exemplary, and E stands for enemy. So it begins with Tyag, and we will see this section. Tyag means renounce. Arjuna heard from Krishna that become Atmaram. We saw Gita accepting a guru who gives the identity. Then we perform two duties. We live our duty as per our 1-9 ashram, and then we perform devotional duties. We do them in parallel, and then we become Atmaram. Atmaram means self-satisfied. Um, then our consciousness completely become absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So that's the goal. And when Arjuna heard that's the goal, then Arjuna is like, well, when that's the goal, why do you want me to engage in killing affairs? So this happens although Krishna specifically mentioned to Arjuna performing two duties, because Arjuna was inclined towards not fighting. Arjuna is looking every small thing to do every small spark to do what he likes to do. That's the nature, because Arjuna is acting like one of us, although he is a pure devotee of the Lord. Sometimes a conditioned soul does that. He hears 100 things, and he takes the thing that he's attached to and he wants to do, and he thinks he's following the scriptures, but he neglects so many things that are mentioned in scriptures also. So our hearing is basically biased. So here we see Arjuna again requesting in a humble mood, because he has accepted Krishna as his spiritual master. O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you urge me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? Fruitive work means we are attached to the fruit. That work becomes fruitive. For example, if Arjuna fights thinking that I will gain the kingdom, then Arjuna fighting will become fruitive work. So Arjuna is thinking the only reason I will fight is to become the king. That's his thought process. So he's like, why do you want me to engage in this fruitive work, in this ghastly warfare, when you think intelligence is better than um, engaging in this work? Krishna says in second chapter, a person whose intelligence is fixed on supreme attains peace, whose intelligence fixed on supreme. So why, if I'm intelligent, then I should renounce and fix my intelligence onto supreme? Why do I fix my intelligence toward winning the kingdom and killing and doing all these things? So can I renounce? So that's Arjuna's question. How it is applicable to us is, I am practicing Krishna consciousness. Can I give up my family? Can I give up my job? Can I just serve Krishna? Can I come and live in the temple and serve? Why do I? What's the need of doing all the things when the goal is Krishna? Because everything I do in this world is temporary, it will be taken away at the time of death. Then, if I am intelligent, why don't I utilize my whole time in serving Krishna and make the life valuable? Why do I engage in all these other activities? So that's the question Arjuna asks. Um, and Krishna says, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will remain free from bondage. So, in other words, Krishna is telling that you should perform your prescribed duties. And same message Krishna is repeating that he mentioned in the second chapter because of question by Arjuna. Krishna told Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, there is no better duty for you than fighting on religious principles. Likewise, here also, perform your prescribed duty. Krishna says in the previous verse than this, if you do not perform your duty, then if you even go to the forest and renounce everything, you will still meditate on work that is born out of your nature. For example, there is a story of a businessman who became very old, and a saintly person happened to visit that home. The businessman already retired. So his sons asked the saintly man, He's 75-year-old. He's still thinking of business. Can you take him with him so now he can dedicate, at least now he can dedicate his time in serving Krishna? So this saintly person took the businessman and he took him to Badrinath. Um, Badrinath is a temple of Lord Vishnu. So he went there. Lot of pilgrims were there, and there were some water shops, and they were selling lot of water. So this saintly person was lamenting. Sorry, this businessman was lamenting, and saintly person asked businessman, "Why are you lamenting?" And he said, "Oh, if I knew there is so much demand of water business in Badrinath, I would have started a water business here." So because his nature is to do business, even when he is going to holy places, he's thinking, "Can I do a business here?" Because because that is his nature. Likewise, Arjuna's nature is to fight. If he goes anywhere, he will start fighting somewhere else because he's Kshatriya by nature. Likewise, everyone is born with a nature based on Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. That nature, when it is used in serving Krishna, um, um, or the results is directed towards serving Krishna, by that his nature will become purified because he is using the nature in serving Krishna. For example, even if somebody is serving in the temple, they all take different activities based on their nature. Some are Brahmanical, some people are Brahmanical, so they like to worship the deities. Some people um, are business minded, so they like to go for getting groceries and doing research where I can get the cheapest grocery. So different people have different nature, so they have to um, work according to their nature, um, and use that in Krishna's service, somehow direct their work to Krishna. um, by default, if the work is not directed towards Krishna, our work will bind us. Like last week we saw karma, akarma, sukarma. So whether it is work according to our nature, if it is not done in the service of the Lord, it will bring good karma. That will take us to heavenly planet and then again bring us back to earthly planet, but it will keep us bound in cycle of birth and death. So that's the point. And Krishna says, those who give up their work um, and go to the forest, but because of their nature, they still meditate um, on their work. They become mithyachari. Mithyachari means pretender. For example, if a person is attached to wealth and women and fame, then he goes to the forest and then he becomes saintly, and he may still meditate on, I wish I had that kind of home, that kind of family, and I wish I can become famous among the people in the forest. So although he's acting like a very renounced man, he's actually very attached, and that person is called a pretender, mithyachari. So instead, let him work based on his desires, let him run after those things and direct those things that he is getting in Krishna's service. If it is not used in Krishna's service, it will bind us. If it is used in Krishna's service, then the work will not cause any bondage because it becomes a karma. So here, in essence of this section of Tyag, Krishna says Tyag is not recommended. You should not renounce. Um, you identify your nature, you work according to your nature, you somehow direct your work towards Krishna, somehow bring Krishna in your work, however it is possible. Okay, and here Krishna says work done as a sacrifice or for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise the same work will cause bondage in this material world. If it is not done for pleasure of the Lord, it will cause bondage. make us continue cycle of birth and death. Okay. Anyone has any question on this section of Karma Yoga? Okay. Okay. Then there are four kind of karma yoga. The bottom one is karma, karmis. Karmis think they are the doer. They think because I worked so hard, I became so rich. They don't see in my karma it is there that I have to become rich. They think that I am the doer. So when they see that, they don't see any need to worship the Lord or anything like that because they think I am the doer. Um, In fact, there is a story of Krishna lifting Govardhan where the residents of Vrindavan would every year perform yagya, sacrifice to Indra, thinking that Indra will bestow rain if he is pleased. And because they were cowherd community, they had cows, and their main job was farming. Their whole life was dependent upon rains. So every year they would perform yagya, and then Krishna told them, why what is the need to worship Indra? Indra is giving rain to the ocean also. What karma, what sacrifice is the ocean performing? Indra is giving rain to everybody, not only Vrindavan, to the whole world. Is everyone performing sacrifice to Yajna? Indra is a demigod. Indra is supposed to give rain according to our karma. So there is no need to worship Indra. And they understood. They understood. So that's the principle. But karmis, they think I am the doer. Everything is happening because of me. So they don't believe in God. One second. Okay. Then other is karma kanda. Karma kandis are those who go to temple, who worship for material desire. Um, I remember I used to go to Vaishno Devi in Katra in Jammu Kashmir, and I used to go and I used to pray, my Lord, give me IIT entrance qualification, give me a good job, give me this, give me that, and if that is fulfilled, then I will come again next year and I will do more austerity and I will give you something here and there. So this is called karma kanda. Karma kanda means we don't really worship, but we worship only for our purpose. How many people go to temple just to pay obeisances to the Lord, that um, I am his servant and it is my duty to serve him. I have come here just to pay obeisances because he is my Lord. All the people when they go to temple, they have their wish list. They give a dollar donation and they pray, my Lord, these things is what I need from you. So this is called karma kanda. It's at least better than karmis who think I am the doer. At least they are accepting that there are some demigods who can help me, but their goal is still sense gratification. Higher than them is sakama karma yoga. Yoga means to connect to Krishna. Yoga. Yoga comes from the word yuj. Yuj means to connect, to become spiritual. So karma yoga means activities performed to become Krishna conscious. Kama is desire. Sakama Karma Yoga is performing our activities with material desires. Most of the devotees lie in this category, practicing devotees. They may take up Krishna consciousness, they want to become devotee of Krishna once they understand the philosophy and Bhagavad Gita. They may start chanting the holy names, um, and their goal of life may be to go back to Godhead, but still they may have desire to become wealthy, to attract women, and to get name and fame and other desires. They may want to dress themselves very nicely, look very nicely. They may still want to do all those things knowingly, unknowingly, because they have karma, they have desires. But these people are much better because at least they know that my goal is to go back to God and my goal is Krishna. So they have at least that much knowledge, and whatever material desires they are still harboring, because they are engaging in Krishna consciousness, they will become purified. It just takes little time. So Sakama Karma Yoga is a good step. Karmi and Karma Kanda is not good. It's not going to help us at all, because Karma Kanda, you go just for material desire and your goal is not God. Their God becomes a business for us. Just like you go to a shop, you give $10 and he will give you whatever, some sugar. So likewise, we go to temple, we pay $10 and then we say, okay, now you make my business $1,000,000. Why? Because I gave you $10, right? So this is karma kanda. Sakama karma yoga, my lord, I don't want anything, but still desire remains in the heart because they have not become purified. So material desires remains, but they don't want to act on those desires, but they still are there because the purification takes some time. Highest is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma Yoga means they perform their duty as they are supposed to do, but not for any material desire, purely for serving Krishna. That is the highest, Nishkama Karma Yoga. If you see Nishkama Karma Yoga, also there is karma involved, there is work involved. So that's the essence. Tyaga is not recommended, but use your propensity, your nature, in doing what you want to do. Somehow see everything in relation to Krishna. Okay, I need a big home. Okay, this is not my home, I am not the proprietor, this is Krishna's home. Okay, then you get a good home and try to see Krishna in your home. Try to, if you want a good car, you can get a good car, but you can say, my lord, I want to use this car somehow when going to temple and serving you also, um, at least like that. So somehow bring Krishna in your desires, and at least for some time in a day practice Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy names, reading Bhagavad Gita. Spare some time to do that. Let time pass, everything will fall in place. So, um, mm, how to see work as worship? Well, work has to be right. Yes, some people say work is worship. Is work worship? Depends. If it fulfills the category of what we just discussed, then the work becomes worship. So work has to be right. Yes. A banker goes and loots the bank and say, well, my work is worship. No, because the work is against scripture. So work has to be right. Yes. Then how are we using the results? If we're using the results for material desires, going, drinking, intoxication, going to bars, or doing something which cannot be connected to Krishna, killing animals, other things, then the work again cannot be called as worship. Then remembrance. In your work you see everything as Lord's arrangement. um, if somebody don't like you, you see it as an opportunity from Krishna to practice patience, to practice forgiveness. You see everything as Krishna's arrangement so that I can become purified. So you try to see everything as Lord's arrangement in your work, and that's how you become Krishna conscious in your work. If you are a software developer or a housewife, then you see this is my responsibility to Krishna, or um, um, I need to design this software. Krishna is the intelligence. Krishna says in 10th chapter Bhagavad Gita, we'll see that. Krishna says, I am the intelligence of a man. So if I need intelligence from Krishna to be able to do my job, so try to remember Krishna along while you are working, and finally remaining time perform some direct Krishna conscious activity, hearing, reading, chanting. Spend at least 15-20 minutes a day. Um, One time, one devotee asked me, how much time can you spare for Krishna every day? I said, I can spare 15 minutes every day. Then he said, thank you. He said, thank you for making this move that out of 24 hours, I will dedicate my 15 minutes to Krishna. Then I asked him, Prabhu, what should I do in that 15 minutes? He said, for 5 minutes, read Bhagavad Gita, and for 10 minutes, chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And I said, I can try to chant 2 rounds in 15 minutes. He said, no, you chant 1 round and you did Bhagavad Gita. Because if you're not reading, then you will not be able to grow in your consciousness, in your understanding. So even if you can just give 15 minutes, Krishna is grateful to you for those 15 minutes, because we have a free will. We can choose to worship Krishna or we can choose to reject Krishna. Krishna loves us unlimitedly. Krishna is waiting for us to turn towards Him, but we have a choice to turn or not to turn. Just like a mother loves the child, but the child may run away, and the child has a free will. The mother is always longing for the child to come back, but the child may or may not come back. And what can the mother do? The child has free will. Likewise, we have free will. Krishna has given us free will. So, when we use our free will to turn towards Krishna, that is love. That is love. And Krishna is waiting for that day, that we will turn towards Krishna and say, Krishna, I am yours. For millions of lifetimes, I was working in my own direction. I forgot you. I'm sorry about it. Now, after reading Bhagavad Gita, I'm getting to know what you are telling. It start to make sense, and I'm feeling that I was never happy before. I'm happy only after I direct my life toward you. Um, just like Arjuna was in ignorance, I was in ignorance, and just like Arjuna surrendered to you, I want to surrender to you. I don't know what is right, what is wrong. I am a fool number one. Please help me. Now, it's a very beautiful consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a matter of consciousness, a state of humility, accepting Krishna and willing to advance in our relationship with Him. And Krishna will help you. Krishna says, whoever approaches me with love, I, sitting in their heart, guides them how to progress. How much we progress in Krishna consciousness depends upon Krishna helping us from within. And Krishna will help us from within only if we have a desire. Only if we have a desire. So if we desire, my Lord, I want to progress. I want to um, g- develop my relationship with you, something that I never valued before. Please help me. And Krishna will send all the help. Krishna will send devotees. Krishna will give you inspiration to read. Krishna will give you inspiration to chant. We can do all these things only when Krishna inspires us. When Krishna doesn't inspire us, then we won't do any of these things. Our progress is based on our inspiration. It should resonate within our heart. We should feel convinced, yeah, that makes sense. I want to do this. And that will happen only if we have Krishna's mercy. Krishna says, I remove the ignorance of a living entity and bring them to knowledge. And I give them the intelligence how to make progress. Our progress is dependent upon Krishna's mercy, who is sitting in our heart. So if you do these things, then 4 hour, then your work will become worship. All right. Anyone has any question, any point of time, please stop me. Don't hesitate and ask.
Prabhuji, this is Jai Shakti here. I have one question
Okay.
regarding this free will. Yeah, yeah, actually, free will. Sometimes we feel like, okay, we have free will, we have the option to choose, but sometimes we think like, okay, everything happens as per our karma. Nothing in our control. It just goes based on the karma what we have done earlier. So, what exactly this free will? Do we have free will or not?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have free will. Based on our free will, we create karma. Our past is decided, what's going to come to us is decided based on our karma. But then, what do we do once we get our karma is our free will. For example, if according to karma, I have to become rich. So I can become rich. What do I do with the money? I can spend it in a wrong way or in a right way. Now that's my free will. or some suffering came to me. Now I can blame Krishna, or I can be grateful to Krishna that my bad karma is gone, and I can surrender to Krishna in spite of my difficulties. That is my free will. Whatever is coming, good or bad in our life, that's because of karma. But how do I act in whatever life turns takes me to? What do I do today? That choice I have. Just for example, today we all have a choice. Let me discuss and hear Bhagavad Gita, or let me go for a movie. That choice I have. Does it help you?
Uh, yes, Prabhuji. So whatever which is already happened, will uh, that will bring our karma, the benefit for the karma. But whatever the action that we take on that, that is based on our free will.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
You're welcome. Okay. And if we have some bad karma, which we all have, that will also be removed by using our free will today to serve Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is all beneficial. Okay. Any other question? Okay. So we go ahead. Now R stands for relief from sin. Now, how to become relief from sin? We know Bhakti Yoga, we know Akarma, but there is a specific thing that Krishna also wants us to do. And he says, the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sin because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. So those people who don't offer their food to Krishna, they are eating only sins. Why? Because Jivan Jivasya Jivanam. Um, a living entity has to eat another living entity. We cannot eat nuts and bolts and chairs and tables and laptops and mobiles. We cannot eat them. We cannot eat dead matter. We have to eat living organisms. Either we can eat a substitute of a tree, or a product that comes from the cow, or the flesh. We have a choice of what we eat, but we have to eat bioorganisms, or some form of living things that can nourish us. That's how the body is designed. Every living entity is eating some form of thing that comes from life. From life. Now we have a choice. If we eat, for example, now, if we eat a potato, we kill a life. A potato. If we eat a carrot, we kill a life. So even some of the vegetables that we eat, there is life, because potato, carrots, radish, they are roots. They are roots. And also, just in the process of cooking, when you turn on the burner, so many bacteria on the burner are died just by turning on the burner. So it is impossible for us to eat something without violence. As long as we are living in this material world, there is no question of non-violence, truly non-violence. But Krishna says, if you offer whatever you cook, I will take all the sins. If it is first offered as a sacrifice, then it becomes free from sins. But if you don't offer food to me, then you eat only sins. So that's why in Vedic culture, based on the authority of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic scriptures, we always offer food to the Lord. Then we become free from. Otherwise, just by eating, we are eating sins. Now, somebody may ask this question: I can kill an animal, and I can eat an animal too. Well, Krishna says what he accepts, what he doesn't accept. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. He eats leaves, fruits, vegetables, milk and milk products. So Krishna says what he eats. If we offer him anything that Krishna does not eat, we can offer, he will not accept it. And if he doesn't accept it, we'll incur the sin. So we have to abide by Krishna's laws. Just like I eat certain foodstuffs, I don't eat certain foodstuffs. If you offer me those foodstuffs which I don't eat, you may say I offered but I didn't eat because I don't eat those foodstuffs. Likewise, Krishna eats some items, Krishna doesn't eat some items. Um, Another thing is the amount of sin incurred um, depends upon the pain a living entity goes through. So, the pain a living entity incurs upon death is based on number of chakras in the body. These chakras are the um, um, the central point of energy in the body. Like human beings have 7 chakras. There is the topmost chakra, Mooladhara chakra, on the head. Likewise, the animals, most of them have 5 chakras. The plants have only one chakra, and aquatics and birds all in the middle. So the amount of pain a plant or a potato goes through because it's being killed is almost nothing compared to a pain that a human being goes through when he is killed. Something like that. So it's based on chakra, and amount of sin is based on amount of distress we cause to others, in a way. So this is more of a scientific understanding of why we should not eat certain fish. These people, those who eat um, 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 flesh and bones, I mean flesh mainly, they argue you also eat potatoes and radish and carrot, then why can't we eat cows? So because just because they lack certain understanding. So in other words, whatever we should cook, see, it takes months and months to grow. It takes months to get a potato. After months we spend our money, we go to Walmart. Now it goes all the way from farm. After lot of endeavor, it comes to these stores. We spend and then we get it and then we cut it and then we cook it. So if you see right from the beginning, to just get one potato sabji, it takes months of endeavor. How much endeavor we put while cooking? We need to gather these 10 kind of spices and oil and everything else required for cooking. Our time, patience, money, we are working so hard. So there is lot of endeavor that goes into get a potato sabji. Why can't we offer for 5-10 minutes? Why can't we have that much patience? If we are having so much to do all the way to come to that, why can't we just offer 5 more minutes? And the consciousness is, my lord, everything belongs to you. I belong to you and I am getting everything by your mercy. um, I offer this to you. Please accept it. um, out of love you offer to Krishna. You treat Krishna as a person, just like you cook for a child. If child likes something, you cook and you offer to the child, and then you are very pleased because the child ate it and child is satisfied. Likewise, you when you are cooking, you think, I'm cooking for Krishna, and Krishna is sitting there. Although I cannot see him personally, I can see him only in the form of a picture or a deity. I have faith based on scriptures that um, Krishna is sitting there, and if I offer him, he will eat. Just that faith, that faith. In fact, there is 5,000 years back, Krishna and Uddhav, Krishna was about to disappear from the planet. And Krishna said, I have to go to Prabhas Kshetra now. And Uddhav said, my lord, I know you are going to Prabhas Kshetra to end your earthly pastimes. And Krishna said, yes, you are right. I am not going to come back. And this is my last pastime on this planet Earth. And Uddhav said, my lord, I cannot live without you on this planet. Please give me some instruction. What should I do after you disappear? And Krishna said, well, carve a deity and worship me in my deity form. I am non-different from my deity form. And my deity form is completely transcendental. You invite me in the deity form through pran pratishtha ceremony, and you worship me in the deity form in this way. So this all knowledge understanding comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are strict followers of Vedic scriptures. Um, okay, so that's something about relief from sin and how eating will make us sinful if it is not offered. Any question on this concept?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Soumya Mataji. I have a question. Can we offer, I mean, not any food, but is it like we have to prepare something food, something separately, like in the temples they prepare food in a different pot and then with ghee and with they they follow some certain procedure to make
Yeah.
the food for Krishna. Means we also do the same thing whenever we are offering food. Is it that is right, or if we can every day whatever we are eating before that we can also offer that to God?
Well, idea is if the food is pure, anything you cook, you offer. And Bhava Grahi Janardana, Krishna will accept the love with which you cook the food. We should not see um, and get into lot of rules and regulations, because if we bring lot of rules, that will discourage us from offering also. So make the concept very simple. Anything which does not contain eggs or meat for now, you can offer to Krishna and then you eat. Don't offer to Krishna what you have already offered him once or what you have eaten. Like हम अपना जूठा भगवान को नहीं खिलाते हैं. That's a
Right.
principle. And if you have offered something to Krishna, don't offer him same thing again. Like you offer, suppose, some potato sabji to Krishna in the afternoon, and then even in the evening you offer the same potato sabji again. Anything you cook fresh, principle is cooked less than 3 hours before. But you can even offer bread that you get from outside, milk, anything you get from outside you can offer, chips you can offer. Just make sure it's pure. It should not contain animal products. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. um, if no question, then we go ahead. And then exemplary, we have 15 minutes and we have few verses to cover. Now exemplary means um, um, try to set a good example. One time this survey was asked, who inspires you the most in spiritual life, and the answer came, other people who are spiritual, they inspire us to become more spiritual. Then the question was asked, who demotivates you the most to take a spiritual life, and he said, other people who are spiritual. When they set a bad example, we are demotivated to become spiritual. So when we are becoming spiritual, it is very important that we set a good example. Otherwise, others, when they see us and they see, oh, these are dharmic people, they are religious people, but they do all these kind of wrong things. So we are setting a bad example. And we are setting a bad example even for our children to follow. Most of the parents, they want their children to become Krishna conscious also. Step one is we see value in it. By reading Bhagavad Gita, by practicing, by reading and chanting, we experience divinity, our heart becomes joyful, we see value in this, and then we want our kids to do it, because anything that you value, you want to share it with others. And the best way to give a divinity to your kids is by not telling them what to do, and by just doing what is right thing yourself. I have seen, if you tell the child bow down, the child will not bow down, but if you bow down, the child will bow down. So you just be sincere and try to become more spiritually advanced. Your kids will naturally follow you, because they see you as role models. They want to do whatever father and mother uh, wants to do. So just be exemplary, set a good example. And we see here Krishna says, whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standard he sets by his exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So whatever action great men perform, common man follows. Common man does not mean that we have so many followers. Our children, our parents, anybody who take inspiration from us, who values us. If you set a good example, their life will improve. So the best way, my spiritual master says, always preach, if necessary speak. Preaching means just living an exemplary life, that's all. If you don't lie, you are preaching to others lying is not good. If you don't become angry, you are telling to others being stable is higher than losing control over one's emotions. So just set a good example. Um, and here Krishna says to Arjuna, O son of Partha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems. Krishna said, I have come to this planet, I have nothing to do in this material world. I have no work that I am bound by, nor am I in want of anything, nor am I fighting to become the king. um, I will make you guys win, then I will go away. So I have no purpose here, nor have I to obtain anything. I don't want to get anything from this Mahabharat war. Yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Yet I am doing and I am participating as a matter of prescribed duty. Krishna says, I don't want anything from this. I just want dharma to be established. I don't want anything material from this. Yet I am engaged in prescribed duty. And Krishna says further, for if I did not engage in work, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. If I don't fight, then everybody will say, Krishna also neglected his duty, then why can't we neglect our duty? In other words, if Arjuna would have left the war, then the whole world would say, see, Arjuna left the war and Krishna approved it. So I can also leave my duty and Krishna will like it. So Arjuna is very lovingly telling, Krishna is very lovingly telling Arjuna, Arjuna, do your duty. And set a good example. Don't just leave. Otherwise, all the people who see you in high regards, they will say, he also did this, so why can't I do this? Something like that. So set a good example. Be exemplary. As a ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. So Krishna is telling, what is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee? They both are working in the material world, but one is working out of attachment. Another is working just to set a good example, for the sake of leading the people in the right direction. So a devotee also goes to job, he has a family, he has kids, and others also have the same thing. But a devotee is seeing Krishna everywhere, and a non-devotee is performing these activities simply out of his attachments. So that's the difference. But both, externally there is no difference in their behavior. In other words, if you become a devotee, nobody will ask you. Some people have fear, ISKCON में जाएंगे तो वो बोलेंगे सब छोड़ दो. But in fact, we never tell this. In fact, somebody who tells us we want to do this, we say it's not allowed. Krishna didn't do that. Yes, there are Brahmacari Ashram and there is Grahastha Ashram. You can choose the ashram when you are in your 20s. You have the choice because these four are bona fide ashram. You can choose whatever ashram you want. But when you have chosen an ashram like a Grahastha Ashram, Vanaprastha Ashram, then you can't just neglect your duties. You have to work according to your ashram. Brahmachari person should act on duties according to his ashram. Grahastha ashram should act duties according to his ashram, but they both should work for the pleasure of Krishna, and they both should work without attachment to the results. That's Karma Yoga. Okay. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth does not entangle himself in the senses and sense gratification. So those who are uh, um, devotees, they don't work for sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. They also do everything a common man does, but they don't do for sense gratification. Or in other words, Arjuna, you should not work because you should not fight because you'll become the king. You should fight because dharma has to be established. I want you to fight. That's why you should fight. Not because if I win, I'll become the king of the earth planet. This is the last verse for this, and then there is one more section to go, last section. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your work onto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Sounds very complex, but let's see. Surrender all your work onto me, or in other words, whatever you are doing, you you um, don't be attached to what result you will get, uh, good or bad. That's up to me. I will give you whatever is good for you. Don't worry about good or bad. You perform your duty, because when we work with attachment, when we get what we are looking for, um, um, we'll become proud, and when we don't get what we are looking for, we'll become depressed. Just for example, we are discussing this chapter. Initially, Girish Prabhu joined and nobody else was there. I may think, well, kya faida, now I'm depressed because nobody is there. Or if there are 100 people, then I may think, wow, now so many people are hearing Bhagavad Gita. That is my contamination. So if we don't work based on good or bad that's going to come out of it. We work because I am trying to serve Krishna. I have to do, and result is in the hand of Krishna. I must do my duty. That's Karma Yoga. So surrender your results onto Krishna. Good or bad, okay, you perform your duty. Many times we are working or something and things don't go right, then we want, okay, let me quit. Let me do this. We take radical actions because things are not going our way, and when we are depressed, things are not going our way, then that's a sign of attachment. So do your work as a matter of duty. Sometimes kids are artistic. Sometimes I know some families, their kids are not doing well, they have some health issue, and then they don't pay much attention to those kids, and they pay more attention to kids who are healthier or something, or they are depressed. It's because our life is filled with, already we have desire how I want the world to go, and that is a cause of frustration in our life. So Krishna says, surrender all your work onto me. See, this is true Karma Yoga. That's why this chapter is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means you are connecting to Krishna through your work. That's why it's called yoga. Some people say goal of Bhagavad Gita is Karma Yoga, so no need to worship God, just do your karma. That's not Karma Yoga. You are just being a karmi then. Karmi means I am the doer. I have to do, and I am very much attached to the results I am getting. That's not Karma Yoga. Yes, Krishna says Karma Yoga, but at least ask from Krishna, what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga involves full dependence on Krishna. Surrendering the results to Krishna. My Lord, good or bad, that's your choice. Doing my duty is my choice. I will do my duty. How you want to reflect, that's up to you. Then with full knowledge of me. So when we are working, we should understand Krishna. Who am I? What is my relationship with Krishna? I am a spiritual part and parcel. We must understand. I am a spiritual by identity. With knowledge we have to work, without desires for profit. Uh, don't think what I'm going to gain out of it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter, a demoniac person thinks, I have this much wealth now, by next year I will have this much, and after 30 years I will have that much, and after 50 years I'll become the president and prime minister of India and America, and then I will become a famous man and my picture will be all over the world. So this is all I am working for, results only, for attachment to results. And then they make their goal of life material. I want to become bigger and wealthier and this and this and this and this and this. So that's, and those people who have those goals, they'll be frustrated in this life, in their work. So do your work as a matter of duty. You can become the richest man on the planet. There is nothing wrong in that. According to your karma, you will get whatever is destined for you, but your goal should be to become spiritual. They both should go in parallel. So without desires for profit, don't work because I want those gains. You just work as this is a duty you do, and you do it very nicely. And with no claims to proprietorship. If we are working for profit, then when we gain the profit, then whatever we gain, we think this is mine. I am the proprietor of it, not realizing that at the time of that I have to give up everything I have. We are caretakers. One time, Birbal asked. One time, Akbar told Birbal that I see a saintly person sitting on my lawn. Throw him away. And Birbal said, "Oh my lord, this is your lawn." And Akbar said, "Yes, this is my kingdom. Everything here belongs to me. I am the king, and all the citizens, they belong to me. I am the owner. I am the proprietor. Everything belongs to me." Birbal said, "Oh my lord, so you are the proprietor? Everything belongs to you?" Akbar said, "Yes, everything belongs to me." So Birbal asked, "Oh, did everything belong to you 100 years back? Was everything yours?" Akbar said, "No, it belonged to my grandfather, my father and grandfather." "Okay. Will everything belong to you after 100 years?" "No, it will go to my sons." Then Birbal told Akbar, "My lord, then nothing belongs to you. You are just coming, you are taking care of this estate, and you will leave. You just come, you do something, you go. So nothing belongs to you." And Akbar understood what Birbal said. So with no claim of proprietorship, if Arjuna fight claiming proprietorship over the kingdom, Arjuna will be frustrated and he will be entangled. But if he fight because Krishna wants him to fight, it will free him. So, and then free from lethargy. Sometimes I know it's prescribed duty, but it's so difficult. Maybe no, I need to take some rest. And then we run away from our duties. We shun off from our duties. That is free from lethargy. This is Karma Yoga. If somebody asks you what is Karma Yoga, these four principles should be applied simultaneously. Then it is Karma Yoga. Then it is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is not easy. Why? Because we have impurities in our heart. Because we have attachments, we have desires. So although having said this, we cannot apply this. Let us be honest. It's very difficult. What we can do is we can practice, we can hear about Krishna, we can read Bhagavad Gita, and we can chant the holy names, and we try to practice whatever we can, whatever is in our limit, and be patient. Slowly, slowly, as the consciousness becomes purified, you will not even realize, and you will come to this state of Nishkama Karma Yoga. This was described Nishkama Karma Yoga, the highest goal, and it will come with determination, with enthusiasm, with patience. Over a period of time, gradually the heart will be purified, and then we'll be able to apply this. Okay, now there are last few verses. Any question before we take the last section for today? Okay, this is called enemy. And Arjuna said, "O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful act even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?" So Arjuna is asking, "My lord, I understood what you are telling. I should fight. I should not consider kingdom during fighting. um, I should not consider kingdom during fighting. Um, I understood. But what is impelling me still not to fight? Even though I understand this is wrong thing to do, why am I forced to do the thing which is wrong? And even though I understand this is the right thing to do, what is stopping me to do the right thing? In other words, what is that enemy that forces me to do the wrong thing and that stops me to do the right thing? What is that which is forcing me to incriminate and doesn't allow me to progress in my spiritual life? Why? What is that inner force? And Krishna says, "Kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna samudbhava, mahashano mahapapma, vidhi enam iha vairinam." It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion. Lust is born from the mode of passion. And this is the first enemy that Krishna introduces in this section. in third chapter, end of third chapter, um, later transform into wrath. Unfulfilled lust will give rise to anger, and which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. Every living entity in this world is consumed by this enemy of lust. Now, lust can be gross, lust can be subtle. Gross lust is sex life. Subtle lust is desire for fame, prestige, honor. That is subtle form of lust. Many people can overcome gross lust, but they still have the desire to become famous, to be respected. This is all subtle form of lust. Another aspect of lust is attachment. Now, here, what was stopping Arjuna is not sex desire, because he is not unable to fight, because there are no ladies in the fighting. Then, what is lust here for Arjuna? It is his attachments. Like we discussed before, because he's seeing they are my relatives, he's unable to perform his duties. He has fought many battles before. He had no problem in fighting out of dharma, but this battle he has problem fighting even for dharma, because he has personal motives, attachment with the body and those connected with the body. And that attachment is also a symptom of lust. So that lust makes us weak. Even though I know it's a wrong thing, I cannot do anything. Um, um, Gandhari asked Dhritarashtra, um, my dear Lord, what will you do if someone in your kingdom disrobes a married wife? Disrobes, remove the clothes of a married woman. What will you do? Dhritarashtra became angry. Dhritarashtra said, I will kill him on the spot. And Gandhari asked Dhritarashtra, why don't you kill your son Duryodhana? And Dusasan, who tried to do the same thing with Draupadi, and Dhritarashtra was speechless. So Dhritarashtra became weak to follow dharma because of his attachment. The difference between attachment and affection is, when your affection is good, a saintly person is affectionate towards every living entity. Means he loves that person. It's natural for us to love. In fact, it is described a saintly person loves every living entity. The highest thing is, if you love Krishna, you will love all the part and parcels of Krishna. If you understand that if everyone is one family, we are all part and parcel of Krishna, then you don't distinguish between me and my neighbor. Even Jesus Christ said, love your neighbor as thyself. It's a spiritual principle, it's the highest principle. Um, 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 but all but we are unable to do that because of this one enemy. I lost the track of my thoughts what I was speaking. Anyways, let's go ahead. We are falling short of time. Now, what is the source of lust? Where does it comes from? When a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Lord is transformed into lust or kama in association with mode of passion. Or in other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into kama as milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into that. We have we have a need to love. We want to love, and we have dormant love for God in our heart. We were all in spiritual world, and we had love for God. When we came down in this material world, um, Maya covers us, and now we don't remember our relationship with the Lord, and and our love for the Lord. So, because we have a desire to love, and we have for we have become forgetfulness of the Lord, that love is misdirected independent of Lord towards other living entity, that becomes lust. Love of God transforms into lust. And if we want to overcome the lusty desires that demand of the body, then we have to direct our consciousness to love God. To the extent you love God and you receive love from God, uh, our love will become pure, and we will love every living entity, and that lusty feeling will go away. It will become very purified. So we cannot we cannot give up lust. We can purify it by trying to love Krishna, by hearing, by reading, by chanting, by offering food. We are cultivating our love for Krishna. Love develops by service. Just like a young boy and a young girl in an arranged marriage, they have practically no relationship with each other. But when the wife cooks what husband likes, and husband buys what wife likes, when they try to serve each other, a strong bond is formed. Likewise, although we have love for Krishna in our heart, we have forgotten it. Now we have to reawaken it. How we reawaken is by loving service. We try to serve Krishna by hearing, chanting, offering food, and other things, and discussing about Him. As we try to serve Him, He will reciprocate with you. That reciprocation will make you indebted to Him, grateful to Him. He will fulfill your desires. He will manifest Himself in activities. He will inspire you from within your heart. He will clearly exhibit His presence in your life. It will begin with your willingness to serve Him. You take the first step and you express that desire. This discussion of Bhagavad Gita is for help us to take the first step, and then Krishna will reciprocate, because Krishna is indebted when we do a little service to Him. And when He reciprocates, our gratitude grows and we want to serve Him more, because we will be like, how can Krishna do like this to me? I really want to serve Him more. And we increase our service to Him. He becomes even more grateful. He reciprocates even more. So, just like any relationship in this world, a spiritual relationship also, our relationship with the Lord becomes stronger by love, by loving service. That's why there is a saying, you take one steps towards Krishna and Krishna will take many hundreds and thousands of steps towards you. But we just have to begin somewhere, and we have already began our journey by discussing this Bhagavad Gita, and on Sundays we have already began. If you continue with patience, it's just a matter of time. Krishna will become a reality for you. At this point of time, it may be, maybe not, but I feel some peace, I feel happy, I feel satisfied, I'm getting some knowledge. So let me continue. But still, we may not have developed a relationship with Krishna. That will happen with patience and continued service and reciprocation, and then this relationship will grow. Okay, now um, uh, um, um, okay, something about lust. Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. The nature of lust is it is never satisfied. It is never satisfied. The more you engage in lusty affairs, it will further burn like a fire. Just like there is a fire, and if you put fuel into the fire, thinking that fire will be extinguished, it won't happen. The fire will become more blazing. Likewise, when we have lusty desires, if we surrender to them, it further grows like fire. And the reason there is so much lust in the heart is because we have been fueling the fire since time immemorial. we have been doing this. And Prabhupada says, because the living entity is running after wealth and women since time immemorial, he has developed strong attachment to this foreign nature. It's foreign to us. In fact, the principle of money was not there few hundred years back. It was just a barter system. Now our whole life is paper currency, which have no value. Before it was coins and then barter system, and now we have this paper money. The wealth in the Vedic culture was how many cows you have. So these concepts have been changing, but because since time immemorial we have been associating with wealth and women, now we have developed attachment to this foreign nature, and it takes little time to come out of this foreign nature. It takes little time. Okay, the mind, this is the second last verse for today. The senses, the mind, and intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Lust is in the senses, it's in the mind, and it is in the intelligence. It is everywhere. Some people say, as I become old, lust will go down. It doesn't happen. Srila Prabhupada says, I saw a man 75 years old going to a nightclub, paying $1,000, going to a nightclub at the age of 75 also. So lust is not going to go away, because just because the senses becomes weak, it is there in the senses, mind, and intelligence. It's live in all these three places. But Krishna says, okay, here Krishna says the working senses are superior to dull matter. um, Object of the senses, that is dull matter, the senses are uh, superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than senses. Mind has the power to control the senses. But when our mind is weak, then our mind becomes a servant of the senses. But ideally, mind should control the senses and use them where they should be used. Where they should be used. Why saintly people are respected? Because they have control over the mind. It's very easy to control the entire army of America. There can be commander in chief and this and that, but they are also servant of their senses. So there are two words, Goswami and Godas. Goswami is master of the senses, Godas is servant of the senses. So it's very easy to control the whole world, but most difficult thing is to control this area within us, because all problem arise because we are unable to control this area. So higher than mind are the senses, means the mind has the ability to control the senses. Now higher than mind is the intelligence. Intelligence should control the mind. For example, intelligence should control the mind. For example, senses may say, I want something, and mind says, okay, I will give it to you. Or and mind tells intelligence, this is what I want, how can I get it? And intelligence says, well, I will help you to get what you want, and mind helps senses to get what they want. So this is like a reverse order. This is a conditioned state where we are driven by the senses, the mind is driven by the senses, and intelligence becomes the servant of the mind. But ideally, intelligence should get instruction from Shastra. Shastra tells us what is right, what is wrong. So we come to understand what is right, what is wrong. And then we tell to the mind what is right, what is wrong. And mind tells to senses what is right, what is wrong. And senses should follow. That is an ideal system that requires spiritual strength. If we are weak, then we will simply follow the senses and the demands of the senses. But if we have the strength, then we can follow scriptures. To follow scriptures requires strength. That strength comes from spiritual life. It comes from spiritual life. And higher than intelligence is the soul. And the soul and the super soul and Paramatma. And the soul tells what to do, what not to do. Intelligence tells the mind, mind tells the senses. So that's all we have for today. Um, Let us see if there is any question. This was our last session for Fridays, and we are continuing the fourth chapter on Sunday, and I see all of you already joining there. Okay, is there anything before we end for today?
Prabhuji,
Girish Prabhu, yes.
I just want to thank you for holding these sessions on Friday. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you for both of your encouragement. Um, um, trying to make some use of my life. That's all. So, okay, we will end here. My obeisances to all of you. Vancha kalpatarubhesha kripa sindhubhe evacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnavendra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I am very grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.